Can you explain that 45-second gap between you and those at the front?
Nope.
It's kind of crazy to see that.
Not really, it's just happens.
Yeah, but do you know why?
Nope.
What if we told you that just before the most iconic race of the season, Lewis Hamilton exposed a flaw inside Ferrari so critical, it might derail their entire championship hopes? That's exactly what happened in Monaco, and it all unfolded in a matter of seconds. In today's video, we're breaking down the moment that turned qualifying chaos into a full-blown scandal, one that has fans furious, the paddock whispering, and Hamilton speaking out in a way we've never seen before. You'll find out why Max Verstappen had to abort his lap, why the FIA hit Hamilton with a 3-place grid penalty, and why Hamilton's calm but cutting response may be the biggest warning shot Ferrari's received in years. This wasn't just a miscommunication, it was a failure that could signal something much deeper inside the Scuderia. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll see why this moment could be the turning point not just for Ferrari's season, but for Lewis Hamilton's legacy in red. Upon closer inspection by the FIA, it was determined that while Hamilton had no intent to obstruct Verstappen, the blame could not simply be excused as a misunderstanding. The radio transcripts revealed that Hamilton was first informed Verstappen it was on a flying lap, prompting him to move aside. Moments later, however, he was told the Red Bull driver had slowed, which led Hamilton to re-enter the racing line, just as Verstappen approached at full speed. Though a collision was narrowly avoided, Verstappen was forced to abort the lap, and the FIA launched a comprehensive investigation using Jeep's overlays, onboard footage, and timing data. The conclusion was firm: Hamilton impeded another driver during a critical phase of qualifying. The governing body emphasized that regardless of intent, teams are responsible for providing accurate information, and in this case, Ferrari failed. As a result, the penalty was enforced, with the FIA underscoring that operational errors have competitive consequences, especially on a track like Monaco. The fallout from the penalty was immediate and compounded by the strategic implications for Ferrari. Starting fourth would have allowed Hamilton to be in a prime position to apply pressure on the frontrunners, particularly Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris, with undercut strategies or tire conservation through Monaco's tight, twisting layout. Instead, dropping to 7th fundamentally changed the dynamics of his race, pushing him into mid-pack chaos and making overtaking nearly impossible. Hamilton, who had demonstrated strong pace in practice and qualifying, was clearly disadvantaged by the altered strategy. His team's error cost him the chance to capitalize on Ferrari's upgrades, including rear wing adjustments and ride height tweaks that had made the SF25 particularly suited to the circuit. The lost grid positions translated directly into a lost opportunity, undermining Ferrari's competitive edge at a moment when they appeared to be turning a corner in performance. In a rare public critique of his own team, Hamilton did not hold back after the penalty was issued. Speaking with a composed but unmistakably critical tone, he pointed directly to the failure in communication, stating, "I was completely offline, and they told me Max was slowing. Then they said he wasn't. It changed. I accelerated, and then suddenly Max was there. It's not on me." This statement marked a significant shift in Hamilton's posture since joining Ferrari. Though he refrained from naming individuals, his comments clearly alluded to his race engineer, Riccardo Adami, the person responsible for delivering the crucial yet flawed radio messages. Hamilton's words reflect not just personal frustration, but a deeper issue of trust within the team's decision-making infrastructure. The calm delivery of his critique amplified its weight, signaling to the paddock and fans alike that the 7-time world champion is not willing to accept avoidable errors that derail competitive momentum. The larger implication of Hamilton's comments lies in the question they pose about Ferrari's operational reliability. In Formula One, success depends not only on car performance, but also on the seamless execution of race strategies and team communications. Hamilton's public acknowledgement of the radio mishap has triggered a broader discussion about whether Ferrari, despite its legacy, can be trusted to deliver at the elite level required by a world champion. With millions watching and media dissecting every word, Hamilton's calm but clear statement has exposed cracks in Ferrari's race management approach. This isn't the first time Ferrari's internal systems have been questioned, but with Montpellier, Hamilton now inside the team and voicing concerns, the critique carries far more gravity. His remarks go beyond a single incident. They hint at systemic flaws that may require structural overhaul if Ferrari aims to compete consistently at the front of the grid. Post-race reflections only added to the narrative of a squandered opportunity. Hamilton spoke again, reiterating the importance of trust within a high-stakes racing environment. He stated plainly, "We need to trust the people around us to give us the right information when it matters. If that breaks down, everything else does too." This statement underscores a fundamental principle in motorsport, that split-second decisions based on shared data must be flawless. His words suggest a growing concern that Ferrari's internal processes may not yet be refined enough to support his championship ambitions. While not explosive in tone, the comment delivered a devastating indictment of the current communication breakdowns within the team, with the implication that even the smallest error can unravel an entire weekend of preparation. The Monaco Grand Prick, therefore, became less about the result and more about what it revealed regarding Ferrari's current state of coordination and responsiveness. On race day, the penalty's effect was felt in full. Hamilton started from 7th instead of 4th, a position that heavily dictated his ability to contend for podium positions. As anyone familiar with the Monaco circuit understands, track position is everything, and even the FIA's newly introduced two-stop regulation couldn't inject enough unpredictability to overturn his disadvantage. Hamilton executed a calculated and efficient race, showing mastery in tire preservation and strategic patience. But the narrow layout and limited overtaking zones rendered his efforts insufficient to regain the ground lost from the qualifying penalty. He ultimately crossed the line in 6th, a respectable result by many standards, but undoubtedly short of the potential he and the team believed they had. The SF25 had looked sharp all weekend, and Hamilton's driving was precise, but the starting position proved too great an obstacle in a race defined by order rather than chaos. For Ferrari, the most painful part of this saga may be that it occurred on a weekend where their car appeared genuinely competitive. The SF25 responded well to setup adjustments, showing strength in slow-speed corners and offering Hamilton the confidence to attack under braking. Engineers had worked to fine-tune the car specifically for Monaco, and by all accounts, the technical package delivered. But none of that mattered once the radio error occurred. The team's efforts in the factory and the garage were effectively neutralized by a momentary lapse in communication. It's a reminder that in Formula One, engineering brilliance can be undone by operational error. For fans and team personnel, it was a bitter pill. Proof that performance alone isn't enough if the team's structure fails to support it. And for Hamilton, who joined Ferrari with hopes of revitalizing both his career and the team's fortunes, it served as a stark indicator of the challenges ahead. The broader impact of this controversy extends beyond just Ferrari and Hamilton. Across the paddock, rival teams and analysts have taken note of how Ferrari handled the situation and how Hamilton responded. The fact that a driver of Hamilton's stature, known for composure and professionalism, chose to speak so directly about a failure in the team's operations sends a clear message to competitors and fans alike. It suggests a shift in Hamilton's role within Ferrari, from simply being a driver to becoming a catalyst for cultural change. His statements are being viewed not just as a critique, but as a potential call to action for internal reform. As teams gear up for the next races, there will be added scrutiny on Ferrari's communication strategies and whether lessons from Monaco are genuinely absorbed or brushed aside. Hamilton's measured response has ensured that this incident will not be quickly forgotten, but instead will echo through the paddock as a moment of reckoning for the Scuderia. Looking forward, the key question is whether this moment becomes a turning point or just another entry in Ferrari's long list of operational missteps. Hamilton's presence within the team now looms larger than ever, not just as a driver, but as a figure of accountability. His championship pedigree and high standards bring expectations that Ferrari must rise to meet. The Monaco incident exposed a fundamental weakness, and how the team responds will determine the trajectory of their season. Will they regroup, address internal inefficiencies, and empower their drivers with reliable support? Or will the structural issues persist, eroding morale and squandering potential? One thing is certain, the Formula One world is watching closely. Hamilton's willingness to voice concerns signals a leadership role that may reshape the team's identity. Whether that leads to renewed glory or deeper turmoil remains to be seen. But as of now, Lewis Hamilton isn't just piloting the SF25, he's steering Ferrari's future.